Mongi, you have your network spread across here and Tunisia. What's the current status of the Black African migrants in Tunisia?
Well, the recent reports that we have received from the ground is that there are still few hundred migrants are held into some of these centers by the government. They're not being processed. They're held in very difficult conditions, as well as other migrants who are trying to stay away from the attacks that we've seen the last weeks. Some of them are staying under tents and under bridges, trying to avoid any contact with the public, where they can perceive that some attacks might happen to them, and this is very understandable after these racist rhetoric coming from the president of the country that spread and fear among many of the migrant communities. And we've seen, these fears were justified because we've seen some attacks on these migrants. Some of them were kicked out of their homes, beaten. They were subjected to very horrible things. So those are the latest that we've seen from Tunisia.
And what's the impact right now? As you know, when we heard President of the World Bank say the World Bank is pausing its future engagements with Tunisia, what are the implications so far?
Well, there was a lot of concern from Tunisia, and rightfully so. I think the World Bank, when they issued their statement, they were expressing concern in general about these statements coming from the president of Tunisia, and also concerns about some of their own employees. We have a lot of employees that work at the World Bank from many of sub-Saharan countries, and some of them were concerned about their safety. And so for that matter, the World Bank wanted to send a message to the government of Tunisia that these are serious issues, that the president should not be engaged in such racist rhetoric. And so they paused all future talks about strategic or future loans to Tunisia. And I think that also had the effect on how the IMF is going to proceed. As you remember, last time I spoke about Tunisia asking for $1.9 billion loan from the IMF. Now that loan is in jeopardy. At least the talks about that loan is in jeopardy for the time being. And those are very, very serious consequences for Tunisia.